And you know what also makes me very upset and disappointed is that I was subjected to some racist comments by the opposition. And I don't like that, and I don't think I deserve that, and I don't think I came to Morocco to be racially abused. It's not right. It's not right.
Hello and welcome along to the On the Whistle podcast. I'm your host, Zayn Nabbi. Joining me for this bite-sized edition is my co-pilot, Courtney Freese. Courtney, normally we start the pod joking, laughing, smiling, and we want you, our listeners, our content consumers, our audience, to feel like you're sitting with us around the table, feel like you're sitting with us around the braai. But today, Courtney and I are angry. Courtney and I are disgusted. Courtney and I don't feel like we're in a good space. And that is because of the alleged racial abuse that was sent Rulani Mokwena's way. He is the head coach at Wydad Casablanca in the Moroccan League. And he has alleged that he was racially abused after his side's 2-2 draw with Ittihad Tanger on Saturday. This is a story that took place some days ago. There were ugly scenes where there was a row between the two benches. Both fan groups, both players, both benches were unhappy in a very tense game. We've seen some really strong statements come out from both clubs. We've seen Wydad condemning the unfortunate events and also making clear that Mr. Mokwena was subjected to unacceptable racist behavior by a member of the Ittihad Tanger club. So that is their quote. That is what they have said. And they went on to say that racist acts have no place in our country or on our pitches, and we are committed to preserving the spirit of fair and honest competition. So that is what Wydad have said. It's important for us to also balance this up and give the statement from Ittihad Tanger. They expressed their deep condemnation and regret for what they say was the unjustifiable assault of one of their team staffs by an individual affiliated with Wydad. They also affirm their commitment to spreading the culture of mutual respect and the spirit of fair competition. So, Courtney, we've been through the statements for football fans around the continent and possibly around the world. They would have seen those unfortunate incidents. Tell me, from your perspective, as a former player, as a former PSL winner, as a South African, what did it make you feel like seeing those ugly scenes in Morocco?
Firstly, Zayn, good evening. And I thought that was well teed up. I will say this to you, that those type of scenes should not exist anywhere in the world at any point of time, especially where competitive professional sport is happening, but even in social sport. The disgusting scenes is that the Wydad head coach Rulani Mokwena was racially abused. There's no allegedness. He was. What happens is that Rulani then comes out and gives a speech and talks about, listen, how can this be happening to me? You know, I'm in this country, a fantastic country with a good pedigree of sport. Listen, there's massive teams in that country. You know, look at the red carpet that was laid out for Rulani when he made the move to this country. Now he gets there. Morocco hosting the African Nations Cup as well, the Champions League semi-finals for the ladies as well. There's a lot going on in that country at the moment. But the scenes that happened during the game were disgusting. The positiveness that has come out of this whole situation is that Rulani himself spoke about how his bench reacted to this. Now, the scenes of physical violence going on are not scenes that anybody wants, any family member going to a football ground wants to see. But I love it when when the person that creates the noise, when the person that creates the issue now all of a sudden puts out a statement and says, well, you know, we also condemn this. No. Take responsibility for your staff and what they said. Put the consequences in place. Show your unity. Show that you stand behind the board of racism and you're not accepting this disgusting behavior. This behavior has no place anywhere in football. And the disappointing fact is the traction the story is getting. I've only read about it in two places, on X which is becoming a super news power giant highway where you get news unfiltered at times as well. So really disappointing with these things. Really, really disappointing, disgusted. And just listening to Rulani in the press conference afterwards, his tone, his demeanor. We're not talking football, Zayn. We're talking in 2024 in an African country, Africans racially abusing Africans.
Courtney, it is so disappointing and it's so horrible. And that maybe tees up an exchange that was put on X. It was by the African football journalist, Mickey Jr. And Mickey put some of the exchanges he was having with Rulani at the weekend, quite soon after the incident. And Mickey said that Rulani made it clear that this abuse has been going on since day one. And I don't know what the story is against Wydad, Rulani said. And to be racially abused is the worst thing, he continued. Mickey then said, they abused you tonight? Rulani responded going, yes, the opponents. That's what the fight was about. My staff heard him swear at me at the end of the match in French. Rulani would add, they called me the N-word and the K-word. Imagine being racially abused in Africa. So it's important that we give the credit to Mickey Jr. This is his exchange with Rulani, but I think it gives people an idea out of there, the vile abuse that Rulani has to face. For those out there who don't know what the K-word is, I'm not going to get into that, but you can Google what the K-word is. It is as offensive, if not more offensive than the N-word. It's a term that was used in South Africa, which has its origins in the Arab world. So, Courtney, I know that you have a knowledge and understanding, close links with the camp. What is the latest word from Mokwena's camp?
Well, I'm not speaking officially for Mokwena. Let's just say that. But what I will say is that there is a extreme disappointment for what they currently are facing. The team is currently going through a period of, I would say, a bit of turbulence in terms of 8 penalties in 9 games. They are struggling to put together 2 wins on the bounce, really trying to make their mark in this very difficult league with highly talented players. And then out of the blue, this bolt comes. Now, the team doesn't know how to adjust to this level of strategic injustice. Is this there to dismantle them? Is this there to make them feel uncomfortable? And in everything they are currently preparing for, this is the thing they're unprepared for, more than ever. And this is the difficulty they are currently having. Now, I'm sure the club will support them through this, like clubs normally do. But this will leave a scar, and this will also open a door for other opponents to look at how can we dismantle or derail this team that is just on the peripherals of getting things right. But there has been an underlying injustice against Wydad. We have got, as I said, 8 penalties in 9 games. Nowhere in even Sunday football, where cows are coming on to eat the grass, do you find a record like this. So the club is not happy from a football perspective at the moment, I would say, as well as this unnecessary issue that has come from out the blue to really derail momentum and I would use the word comfortability. There's no such a word, but I'm cornerstoning it. Comfortability of the leadership in the country. As I said, in Morocco, we are Africans. Not that any level of racism is accepted, but it just shows that racism it doesn't have a color itself. Racism does not have a color. Racism can be from anybody towards anybody. And it's just so sad to see.
Absolutely. And what you were touching on earlier is the fact that Wydad sit 6th in the Botola Pro. They have 15 points. They're 8 points behind league leaders Berkane. And we'll wait to see how that will all shake out. It's still fairly early days in the league, so I think it's important to say that. and a lot can happen before the season ends. Courtney, thank you for your assessment. Thank you for your analysis. I guess my final question to you would be, with Coach Rulani, with the camp, I mean, what do you think their natural next steps are from here? I mean, is that looking to get support from the authorities in investigating this? Because let's not forget, Morocco in many ways have become the pinnacle for African football because of what they did at the Qatar World Cup in 2022. And their women's game is also really strong. The club game is really strong. I mean, would you like to see the administrators, the Moroccan Football Association, come out strongly, investigate this? And if racism and discrimination is found, which we strongly suspect there will be, to come out with hard punishments, be that points deductions, fines, etc.
Let's take Rulani out of the equation. Let's take Wydad out of the equation. Let's put it at the feet of Morocco, the Football Federation. They need to have a clean bill of health, not just for African football, but for promoting the game of football to the world. As you know, where Morocco is situated, as you said, right near Europe, there are so many big teams that go and play and players that move on into playing Europe from that particular.
And they're in line to host the future World Cup.
In line. It's not the first time they've been in line as well. So facilities, our own Alistair Howarth, who's gone into Morocco to look at some of the facilities out there, the place is primed for big football.
Mm-hmm.
So the potential action you're looking for is something swift, something decisive, and something that would set the tone and not be fearful. Like some of the steps that get taken in Europe where, well, we'll find someone £10,000. So the president goes to his car, opens the car ashtray and takes out the £10,000 and pays the fine. We're not looking for something like that. We're looking for something decisive, something that will hurt the perpetrators. So the standard then gets set, saying that if this type of behavior happens, this is the consequence. We want that type of consequence for anybody who does that. That's why I said, let's withdraw Rulani. We need a precedent to be set by the Moroccan Federation. So hopefully there's someone sitting there, not fearful that they're going to lose their job, not fearful that the media is going to write something too strong about them, but decisive in terms of a consequence. The message is clear. As I said to you earlier on, it's not alleged that this was happened. This did happen. So because it did happen, let's be decisive and cut them off at the knees. That's what I would do. And let's hope the Moroccan FA do that.
Courtney, thank you for your analysis. Thank you for your reportage. For those listening out there, please let us know what you think about this incident. Courtney and I, not happy about it. Tell us what you think you would like to see in terms of action. Hit us up on our social media accounts on X, formerly Twitter, and Instagram at OTW_podcast. Or you can search for us on Facebook or YouTube by just searching for the On the Whistle podcast. We'd love to hear from you. Courtney, thank you again for the show today. It was a hard one for us. Next time we'll be back with something positive, celebrating our legends and talking about things that are more enjoyable and pertaining to the pitch. But this is an important subject. And at On the Whistle, we stand against racism. We stand against discrimination in all its forms. And we will continue to call this out and talk about this. Salagash.